What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right here is the 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line. Yes, this is the long-range all-wheel drive version, and this thing is pretty practical. Now, if you're in the market for a simple EV that has great styling, that looks a little sporty and luxurious at the same time, this is a perfect match for you. Now, this one is just over $59,000 as it sits, and this is top of the line. Now, is the vehicle worth it? If you're that person I described, then yes. Let me show you why. Now, typically, I would give you guys a brief history on this vehicle, but there just isn't any. This is a brand new vehicle, the EV6. So let's start up front. The first thing you notice is this color. This is called wolf gray, and it is a metallic gray, which is very nice. But when it comes to this hood, you can see those slick, sharp curves right there. Adds for aerodynamics, and I'm sure it does help because those are some nice cuts. Now, dropping down here, you will see that polished aluminum looking Kia badging right there. And right here, they added the gloss black that houses the front forward facing camera, nicely designed. And inside of that, they've put the light bar that makes this thing look great at night. You will know what this is from a distance. Now, dropping down here at the bottom, there are active shutters inside on both sides. On some Kias and Hyundais, those shutters are just exposed. You can see them open and close, but this one is behind a nicely designed gloss black grille. Now, following that daytime running lamp over to the headlights, you have your headlight right there, your high beams in there also. And dropping down here, those are, fake vents, of course, but it adds that front design when it drops down here to that lower bumper. And of course, since this is an EV, there is a frunk. You would think, oh yeah, it's a regular engine, shut it and walk away. But then you got to think about it, come back and look at this like, wait, it is an EV. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty much what I did, and my mother found this. But Kia has something up their sleeves, guys. Don't fall for the trick like I did. If you look at this right here, there is a handle that you pull up. Voila, there is your front trunk. Now, this pretty much is a storage compartment. The largest thing you can get in there is a laptop, maybe a couple spray bottles, and some towels to keep the vehicle clean. But it is there. And right inside of this thing here, you have your additional charge ports for that EV charging in its own designated pouch. But there you have it. Very simple, very clean. Now, let's move along to the side. Now look at the size of this vehicle. This is about 184.8 inches long. Now, when I say that, remember, this is considered a compact crossover SUV. So in my opinion, if you want that compact SUV space and capability, but in a smaller, or should I say slicker profile like a car, the Kia EV6 is the perfect car to get. Now, starting up front, I love the fact that these lights continue with that, that nice curve to make it look like it's going very fast. Right there is one of your sensors and your side reflector. Now, right here, when it comes to this arch, most car companies will paint that a contrasting color or even give it that plastic look, but I'm glad that Kia stuck with that wolf gray right there. Now, wrapping around here, this is interesting. Remember, this is a full EV, and if you look at that line right there that separates the hood, this has to be like one of the smallest fenders I know of. But anyway, dropping down here, you have this nice gloss black, and it looks like that polished aluminum 20-inch wheels that are wrapped in 255/45 tires, which gives it a nice, great profile. And if you see those rims, you know that that is the GT line. Now, if we continue back, right here, I love the fact that they stuck with the gloss black on the side of the windshield, which blended well with this black mirror. But they do have the gloss black trim going around the windows with the black trim on the pillars, and dropping down here, they have the gloss black trim down there. I love when they do this because it makes sort of like a border or a frame for a picture, if you should say, with that wolf gray, and yet there's a ending right here. We got to give you a touch more of wolf gray. It makes it look that much more dramatic. You do have those recessed door handles that when you lock the vehicle, those go in, the mirrors turn, of course. You have this large glass, and The only thing that I don't like they do is, yes, you see how long this glass is, but yet this sunroof only opens about that much. That is the one thing I don't like when it comes to the way Kia does sunroofs, but that's pretty much the only thing. Now coming back, you see the size of this rear door, and if you look at this vehicle, you would automatically assume it's a car. Once again, it is a compact crossover SUV, so you do get that rear door that's about the size, if not larger, than the front door. And trust me, the space on the interior is amazing. Now coming back here, you do have that small third window. I think that's what gives it that compact SUV look. And as you keep dropping back here, this is where things get interesting, because this is an attached spoiler to that rear hatch. That rear hatch comes all the way to that point, almost to that shark fin. So it has a spoiler pretty much here, and it has a spoiler down here, what you call, I guess, the lip spoiler. But anyway, you come right here, this is that light that continues all the way around, that nice strip. I love that car companies is doing that. That is the thing right now. And if you come down right here, once again, you'll see that sensor and this texture right here. Guys, I don't know why exactly Kia does this, but Kia keep doing it. I love the attention to detail. It makes it look like a piece of art. But let's move along back. Now this is my favorite part of the vehicle. The rear has so much design, so many intricate details. I absolutely love it. But starting over here, I do want to mention this gunmetal chrome look again that has these textures, but as it wraps around right here, it fades to where it smooths out and wraps around the entire rear of this vehicle. I love that. And right here, there is a black plastic insert that has the same texture design as this gunmetal chrome, which looks like an area where a vent should be. I don't know, maybe Kia is getting ready for a track version of the EV6, maybe an EV6 almost like an N type thing, but that's Hyundai. Let's keep going. As you wrap around here, I do want to mention this door again. I love the fact that it is pretty much a touch to open that charge door. You do have your levels of charge like a cell phone. You have a dedicated light to see that port at night. You do have a whole button that locks it in place, and this button right here closes it. You're talking about new age technology, luxury features on this vehicle. Now over here, before we leave this area, you do see this gloss black that runs around the bottom of this vehicle. Now I love the fact that it is separated right here. You have this, but yet you have this lower pretty much diffuser that meets right here in the middle, and it goes all the way across. You do have your reverse lights right here, which is race inspired. You know, a lot of the race cars, the F1 cars, have those lights down there. So that's why in the beginning of this video, I did say if you like sporty, luxury, but yet you need the size and the space of the compact crossover SUV, this is for you. It does have these little intricate details where you see it dips off on the inside, but yet it has that lip. I love that design. But coming across here, it does have that polished aluminum EV6 badging right there. And if you come over here, it has that large polished aluminum Kia logo. Look how big that is. It's pretty much the size of my hand. Now, if you come over here, you do have that GT-Line badging right here. And this is pretty much a simple car with so much design going on. It's just, it blows your mind. Now, since this is that hatchback, it doesn't have a rear wiper, but that's okay, because it doesn't, you really don't need it on this vehicle. But while we're back here, if we go right here, you do have that hidden trunk button. Now it is a power lift tailgate, and you can see the sheer size of this trunk. Matter of fact, I'll just sit back in here like this, but let me show you some things about this trunk. Now, the one thing I love about this vehicle, for the millionth time, it is considered a crossover compact SUV, but it operates just like a hatchback car. As you see, it does open up that large tailgate right there. It has this cover for everything that's in your trunk, so nobody will break into your car, see what's in there. And then it has that polished aluminum looking rail to go with it. Now, Velcro to this trunk, let's listen, is the tire mobility kit. And what this is a tire kit that shows the air pressure. Look at this, it's never been opened. Guys, should we be the first? Nah. Yeah, let's be the first to open it. Sorry, Kia. I mean, you put it in here. I mean, don't it need to be open? It's like Christmas. All right, there it is. I know you didn't need to see it, but I really felt like opening that bubble wrap. Now, I'm not gonna open the container that goes with it. Here it is right here. But I love the fact that this is Velcroed to the trunk. Once again, it's like when it comes to Kia, Hyundai, everything has its place. Up under here, you have more storage, but I'm gonna just pull this whole thing out. You like how easy that was? Now, it's not a lot going on, but you do have space for a few things like the trunk, or should I say like the front. Now, there's not a lot of space under here, but you do have enough space to store like towels and detailed things for the car, maybe an umbrella up under there, but it's useful space, I guess you could say. I'll put this large board back in here. As you see, it does operate like that traditional hatchback car, but yet that crossover SUV. Now on the sides over here, you do have easy levers on either side to let down the second row seats just like that. They are spring loaded. You do have a 12 volt 180 watt charger over there that I like to call the traditional cigarette lighter. There is a dedicated LED light. Now let's check out the interior, POV style. Now hopping into the EV6, it does have proximity key, but I'll unlock it. You see them door handles flip out, the mirror flip out, and we open it. Now this is a beautiful interior. Even though you see this right here, it's so bright, Kia does call this a gray texture, but you can see these are all soft padding touch. I love that brushed look right there with that black and this gunmetal. I don't know, it's almost like a matte finish, but yet it has a shiny texture. You do have that two-person memory right there. Once again, soft textures everywhere. You have that same textured print right there. Of course, traditional buttons there. You have your grab handle. You have a little bit of gunmetal right there that matches that door handle. As you see, this matches that. The handle matches this. Great touch of design, and they splash a little bit of this grayish color in here that broke things up a lot. You do have a traditional door cubby. One thing I like is that you see for your cup, it kind of leans forward. I guess that's to help it not spill when you take off. You do have your Meridian sound system. I love that texture right there. And of course, you do have your little tweeter right there that's branded also with that same texture, or should I say pattern. But look at that interior. Let's start up top. This texture on the dashboard, and it feels like it looks, which is very interesting. You do have a heads-up display. There are your two 12.3-inch screens right there. Look at that touch of gloss right there. Now, the one thing I forgot to mention is if you look real close, you can see that sort of green color. That is part of your ambient lighting. If I go back to the door, you will see it up under there, right there. So it illuminates very well, but a traditional vent. I love the design, the style. Kia and Hyundai they're never boring with that. You do have the light control, of course, how bright your gauge cluster is. There is that button for your charge port. Open the trunk, your park brake, and turning the traction control off. Now coming over here to the steering wheel, I love this because they always do most of the time they do the two textured turn stocks. You see that gloss black, and of course with that regular black plastic, it makes it look so premium. You do have a power tilt telescope steering wheel, fully leather wrap heated steering wheel that has the contrasting colors with the stitching to match. You see the white stitching up there, but the black stitching down there. That is pretty cool. And if we slide it in here, it's so much space, guys. Usually I have to stand outside the vehicle, but I can sit down just fine. It's so clean and everything. You do have that Meridian speaker up there. Look at that texture, and it's in both corners, as you can see. Now, I will turn this thing on with a power button. And of course, there it is, just so you guys can see those dual 12.3-inch screens. And if you come back over here, the vehicle will tell you you are ready. But once again, let's get back to the steering wheel. You can see it has typical controls that you see nowadays, but it does have your lane keep and your cruise control. And I love the fact that Kia does this with that button right there. It can pretty much be programmed to whatever setting you want. There's your phone control, your drive modes and all that. I'm sorry. That is a mode selector for you to also customize. There is your drive mode right there. It's so race inspired right there in the center of the steering wheel at the bottom. Now coming over here, guys, once again, that texture, it feels like it looks, which is interesting. You have your 2 vents, and of course your emergency lights right there. You can see that little bit of green. Of course, that's that ambient lighting running across. I do have it set in green. Now down here, this is one thing that I love. Obviously, there's a lot of things I love, but as you can see, it's on the climate controls. There's your temperature. It is a dual zone. You can sync it, of course. But if you push this right here, as you see, that's illuminated for climate control. But if you push this one up here, it turns into your radio. I mean, how great is that? Saving space, radio, climate control, but yet you can do all those same things in that 12.3-inch screen. Now going across this dashboard again, once again, the texture, I love it. And you do have that subtle GT-Line badging so that passenger will not forget that they're not just in a regular Kia. They are in a EV6 GT-Line. And over there you can see that door. Of course, it does mirror the driver door. Now coming down here, where things get interesting, you can see the space right there. That is the 2 USB-C ports, and of course, if one is illuminated orange, that does double to plug up to your infotainment system. You have charge ports right there, another USB-C and a 12-volt. Excuse the mess down there, but that was my daughter's cup. You do have a storage compartment down there that is big enough for pretty much any size purse the women can carry. I like this little hidden thing right there on both sides. It is to put a ink pen attachment in or something. Now, excuse me while I slide out of this vehicle. Now, up here, I love the cockpit design. Let me slide out. It's just so jet inspired, and the way that floats is just beautiful design. But you do have your heated, cooled seats, the driver and passenger seat. You have that heated steering wheel button. I love the position of the power button for the car, and it has that ambient lighting going right around it. Right there is your gear selector. Of course, you rotate this for reverse neutral drive, and you push that button down for park. Greatly designed. There is your 360 cameras right there. I do have the driver door open, so it's not going to show all that efficient, but it is there, guys. And you can also, of course, do the bird's eye view in this vehicle as you're moving. Now going back down here, you do have your NFC, which is a wireless charger. And that NFC, what that is the vehicle can pay for things at select stores, gas stations, restaurants, which is pretty cool. You don't have to go in your wallet. The car can pay for it. You do have 2 cup holders. There's another extension for your charge port right there, and a little cubby right there. You open this, it is a pretty small center console, but yet it's deep enough to put a drink in or anything of that nature. And this center console does have the same texture as the dashboard, and it feels exactly the same. I don't know what's going on there, but I absolutely love it, Kia. Very stylish seats. As you can see, this is that GT-Line quality. It has the black leather with that gray trim, and I love the contrasting leathers going down this seat. It's so comfortable. Once again, it's a heated and cooled seat, fully powered, of course, with lumbar support. You have branded EV6 floor mats, which of course is an additional charge. Of course, you have the plus minus right there because this is an EV. And down here, you can see that little bit of ambient lighting, of course. Now, let's step in the back seat. And you can see, I'm gonna show you just how spacious this thing is by getting back there. Now, I wanted to show you guys the sheer size of the interior of this vehicle. I have this front seat set to how I like to sit, and I like to sit like I'm about 6.5 feet. But with that said, you can see that I have a good 6 inches of space right here between my knee and the rear of this seat. Not only that, this rear seat does have a slight recline to it with these 60-40 split backs. Now that you've seen that, let's go ahead and start. Now on the door, traditional door, of course, pretty much nothing going on. I just love the fact that they kept up with the textures for the Meridian speakers, of course, and you can see 2 of them just on the rear doors. The rear seats are heated, the 2 outer seats, and it has a nice little deep cubby right there. That is also the handle to close the door, but you can easily set a cell phone wallet. You have, of course, the drink storage right there. And going in here, look at that hard plastic on the back of the seats, even the headrest. I love that, especially having the kids. You have this bungee type storage going on right there. You do have climate vents right here, and I love that because on those cold days, that can blow right in the rear passenger face if you set it up right. But of course, this is an EV, so no transmission tunnel. You can see that floor is low and very flat. And if you look at this, yes, these seats do fold down. They are 60-40 split seats, but yet they have a slight recline to it. And I'll leave that seat just like that so you can see the difference over here. Now, once again, I love the textures of these seats, and they are pretty much the same quality as the front seats. It does have a armrest with two, of course, drink compartments right there. And traditionally nowadays on Kia, there is USB-C charging on the rear seats on both sides, so those passengers can stay charged and connected. Now, driving the 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line all-wheel drive with extended range is pretty simple. Now, the single motor, which is the rear-wheel drive, the regular GT line is rear-wheel drive, and it has a single motor which pushes out about 225 horsepower. Now, this all-wheel drive, of course, has dual motors, and with them dual motors, you get about 320 horsepower, 446 pound-feet of torque, and that gives you a 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds as tested. Now, being that this is an all-wheel drive, of course, it cuts back on range. I think the rear-wheel drive, once again, which is single motor, gives you a little over 300 miles of range. This one here gives you 295 miles of range. Now, with that sacrifice, you do get bigger rims and you get the all-wheel drive capability. And from what I read when it comes to charging, of course, that is the big thing. You can charge this thing from 10% to 80 in under 18 minutes, but that's on a 350 kilowatt fast charger. Now, you can get a 10% to 100, a full charge in about 7 hours on a 240 volt outlet, which is crazy because of course that's one of the ones that come with the car, and I'm sure that does vary depending on temperature, time of the year. But when it comes to how comfortable this vehicle is, I mean, everything in here is premium. Once again, the heated fully leather wrapped steering wheel. You have all these safety features like your blind spot warning. For you guys that don't know Kia, once you put on your turn signal, that blind spot camera pops up on your gauge cluster so you can see what's right there. It's very helpful, and it still dings if something is in your blind spot. And once again, the premium feel in this vehicle, of course, you've seen the two-tone interior with the off-white seats and all that stuff. It has 14 Meridian speakers. That's right, in this small vehicle there are 14 Meridian speakers, and this vehicle gives you everything you need. Once again, with the safety features, with the cruise control, with the lane keep. And speaking of lane keep, if you are using your cruise control and lane keep and put on your blinker, the car will switch lanes for you when it sees that it is clear to whichever direction you switch lanes. How premium is that in a under $60,000 Kia? And I can't tell you guys enough, like I said in the beginning, if you are a person that like the simple things, but yet you want a vehicle that has a sporty, luxurious edge to it, and it does stand out a little bit. It is a head turner because of its intricate designs in the rear and the front. This is the vehicle for you. Now, there you have it, my review of the 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe to this channel, as it does help me tremendously. But lastly, before you go, if you are interested in some of the people who design the cars we drive every day, please go check out my other channel called Becoming You, where I sit down with these individuals and talk about their everyday life that led them to their careers. But until next time, guys. Now, the one thing I like about Kia is they are not short on features. Now, on the key, if you lock it and hit the automatic start, you'll see the lights flash 3 times. 1, 2, 3. That lets you know the vehicle is on. Now, if you come back to this key, you'll see right there it has those buttons where it looks like a car and an arrow going down and a car and an arrow going up. Now, if you're in a tight spot at the store and you need to back the car out, you hit this down button, just hold it. Check it out, guys. it moves by itself. And it goes quite a distance, especially if you walk with it. And if you need to pull it up, look at the key. Instead of pushing down, you push the up arrow, hold it, be patient. It's checking its surroundings, and it'll go. Let's see just how far it'll go. And it feels like that's enough, but you can even just go closer to the vehicle, push it again, and it will keep going. I wonder if I can walk my car home.